One of the amazing capabilities in Microsoft Fabric Unified Data Platform is the possibility to execute cross-warehouse query. In this end-to-end video, I'm going to walk you through how to craft that solution easily and seamlessly. So let's get started. To implement this solution, we're going to create two warehouses in the same workspace, each containing the fact and dimension table warehouses. We're going to use the data pipeline to launch data into the respective warehouses from the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Then we're going to use the T-SQL Notebook Explorer to attach the warehouse that houses our dimension table, and afterwards execute the cross warehouse query. So let's dive into the solution. Now, before we create our warehouses in our workspace in here, let's take a sample look at the data sets in the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So I'm going to come here and then I'm going to click on this Cornerstone Analytics Storage account, and then we want to go to containers. In the container, I've got the fact table container and the dimension table container. Let's take a look at this fact table. So click on that, and then I've got this fact directory folder that contains all the cells 2015 to 2024. Let's take a look at the 2022 just to preview. I'm going to click on this edit and then click on the preview at the bottom, so we can see the number of columns same across all the CSV files. So we have all the rows and the columns. Now let's go back to the container, and then let's take a look at the dimension table container, and then click on this dimension dir. And we're going to focus on the dim product only and click on the preview. So we can see we have two columns, the product column and the product ID. So these are the unique products. So we have seen the sample data. Now let's go back to the app.powerbi.com and start building our warehouses. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to stick with this cross warehouse workspace with no item created. So I'm going to click on this new item and we want to create the first warehouse. So I'm going to search for warehouse. I'm going to call this one fact sales underscore WH, and I click on create. So this is going to provision the warehouse. Now I'm going to go back to the same workspace and then click on the new item again, and I want to search for warehouse again to create the dimension table. So I'm going to call this one dim table underscore WH, and then click on create. So this is going to provision the two warehouses. Now let's come back to this fact sales, and this is ready, so we can see the name at the top left hand corner. Now we can use the new data pipeline to orchestrate data into this new warehouse we just created. So I'm going to click on this new data pipeline, and I'm going to call this one fact, or let's just call this one data pipeline, because I'm going to use it twice to get the data across into the two warehouses. So click on create. Okay, so the data pipeline is now provisioned, so we can copy data into the newly created warehouse. Now I'm going to cancel this window and use the other side, so we can see we can start building our data pipeline to organize and move our data. So to start with a blank canvas, I'm going to click on this pipeline activity, and then we want to use the copy data activity. Now in this case, I'm not going to bother renaming the pipeline, the copy data activity. Let me just go to the main part. I'm going to come to the source tab, and we're going to establish connection to our data set in the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So I'm going to click on this select connection, and then I'm going to click on more option. Now in this, we can choose a data source to get started. I'm going to search for Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, so I can see that here. Click on that, and we need the URL as well as the connection name and the authentication kind. Now for the URL, I'm going to come back here, and let me just go back to that container. So I'm back here, and then I'm going to scroll down and look for the endpoint under settings. So we can say endpoint. So we have quite so many endpoints we can use, but in our case, I'm going to scroll down and look for the primary endpoint, so which is the data lake storage. So I'm going to use this Cornerstone Analytics.dfs.core.windows.net. So it must contain this DFS to work. So copy this to the clipboard and then come back here. I'm going to come through V to paste. So this is detected. Now I'm going to just show us how we can create the whole thing. So click on this new connection. Now I can stick with this name as the connection. I can give this a meaningful name, doesn't matter. Now this is a cloud solution, not an on-prem, so the data gateway is not required. And then for the authentication kind, I'm going to use the account key. I found out that the organization account is actually not working in this case, so I'm going to use the account key, which is quite straightforward. So to fetch the account key, I'm going to come back here. And then I want to go up a little bit. So under the security plus networking, I'm going to see the access keys. Click on that. And then I can use this key. Let me just open it up and then copy to the clipboard. Come back here and I can paste in this box. So I can click on connect. All right, so we've established successful connection to the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So I'm going to click on this, not now. Now, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to click on this test connection again, just to verify that we have a successful connection. Okay, so we can say connection successful. Now we want to move to the file path type. This is going to be a file path, and then for the file path, I'm going to click on this to browse through the container that is holding our fact sales table in CSV format. So I can say we have this fact table container and the dim table container. Let's start with the fact table. Click on that. And we can see the directory, fact directory, that is holding all the sales 2015 to 2024. So we're not going to click any of this because we want to logically append all of this data as a single flat table. So click on OK. Okay, so this has been specified. Now I'm going to uncheck this recursively and I'm going to choose the file format as a delimited text in order for us to be able to preview the data, because for now we cannot preview using the binary file format. So choose the delimited text and then we can see this is now enabled. So click on this preview data. And then we can see this is the preview of the data. So this is actually working. Now I'm going to move to the next tab, which is the destination. So again, I'm going to choose the connection. Now we've created a fact sales underscore WH warehouse. So click on that and then I can see the fact sales underscore WH warehouse. So let's click on that. Now we're going to auto create the table in the destination. So choose this auto create table option. And then for the table name, I'm going to call this one DBO and give this a name. I'm going to call this one fact table, or let's just call this one fact sales. And that's all I need to do. I can click on this validate to check for any potential error in this data pipeline. So no errors. I'm going to click close, and then we can click on this run and save and run the data pipeline. So this is going to provision the pipeline to be executed, and then we're going to say that in a moment. So we can say under the output, this has been provisioned, and let's just wait for some couple of minutes to see whether it's going to be successful or not. Amazing. So this succeeded. It just took about 32 seconds to execute. That's brilliant. Now let's quickly come here and check it out. So I can come back here and click on this refresh, and then when I expand, I can see the fact sales table here. Now I can right click and then I can create a new query. Let's just select the top 100 records, and there we go. So this worked absolutely fine. So we can say all data is now appended. So we can see we have the 2015, 16, and so on and so forth. Cool. Now I'm going to use the same data pipeline to load the data that contains the DIM product into the DIM table warehouse we created. So come back to this data pipeline activity, and I'm going to use the same copy data activity and then just make some changes to the source and the destination. Now for the source, I'm going to click on this browse for the file path. And then I want to go back to the root folder in order to access the dimension table container that is holding the DIM products, the DIM tables. So click on the dimension table containers, and then we have the dimension dir here. So click on that, and then you can see the three dimension tables, the DIM products, DIM region, and the subcategory. So I just want to pick because of time, click on this DIM products, double click, and then we can see this is now populated here. Let's click on this to preview the data. Okay, so we have the data back, which is cool. Now I'm going to close this and then we can go to the destination tab. Now in the destination, don't forget to get rid of this fact sales warehouse. So cancel that and then click on that again to create a connection. So we want to pick the DIM table warehouse because we want to run cross warehouse query. So this is going to be the destination, and then we're going to also create the table for the table option. So for the name DBO, I'm going to call this one DBO for the table name, and I'm going to call this one DIM products. And we can see this is all done. I can click on this validate to check for any errors. No errors, click on the run. So we're going to save the pipeline and run it immediately, and this is going to be provisioned, and let's see what happens. Amazing. So in just 20 seconds, this executed. Now let's go and check it out. So I'm going to come back here and then I can click on this refresh just to refresh the whole thing. And then we can see we have the dim products. So I can right click and then we can create a new SQL query and then select the top 100 and we have the data back. So we're able to establish the first one, which is to land our data into the respective warehouses. Now let's go ahead and create our cross warehouse query. Now I'm going to come back here. I'm going to click on this drop down here, the new SQL query, and I want to create the new SQL query in Notebook, which allows us to write trans-SQL queries. So we can see we have the fact sales warehouse and then we can see the fact sales table. Now we're going to click on this Explorer, this plus sign to attach another warehouse within the same workspace. So this is the One Lake catalog. So click on this to select and then we can click on the confirm bottom right to confirm. So we can see we have two warehouses, which is absolutely fantastic. Now we can come in and write our cross warehouse query. Now I'm going to just write select and press enter. So we want to take let me just expand these queries and let me the schemas and then DBO and then the table. So we can see we have the dim product. So I want to pick the product table. So I'm going to type in products and then I want to put in a comma. Now in our case, we have the unique product here in the second warehouse. Can you see we have the product and then the ID? And then when you go to the first one here, the fact sales, we have all our columns that we can aggregate the sales and so on. So we want to perform total sales by products. So the sales column is in a different warehouse and then the product column is in another warehouse. So I'm going to come here and just press enter just to align it properly. Now we're going to use the sum function and open the brackets. Now because our sales column is going to be interpreted as a string, we're going to use the cast function to cast as an integer. So I'm going to say cast and open another bracket and then I can call the name of the column the sales and I'm going to say as integer. So I'm going to alias this as total sales outside. You can use this whatever you like and press enter. Or let me control Z, press enter, and then we can select the column or the table where it's coming from. So I'm going to say, hey, grab that from the fact sales column. Now we're going to use three namespaces here. We're going to call the name of the warehouse and then the name of the schema and then the name of the table. So I'm going to say, hey, grab that from the fact sales underscore WH dot DBO schema dot, and I can say the name of the table. So I'm going to press enter and then the back button. So we can use the inner join. So press enter, tab key, and then we're going to inner join that with the dim table, that is the dim product. So again, the three namespace applies. So I'm going to scroll down here. So we can see the name is dim table. So call down first dim table dot, and the name of the schema is DBO dot, and the name of the table is dim product. Now at this point, we're going to just alias the table. So I'm going to type in P for product, and then I'm going to type in F for fact. So I'm going to come here because this product column is coming from the product table in another warehouse. I'm going to type in P dot, and then I'm going to use the F here because this is coming from the fact sales warehouse. So we have assigned appropriate aliases. So I'm going to press enter and then we can use the on keyword. I'm going to say on. So press the tab key. So I'm going to say where P dot product is equal to P dot or F dot product is equal to P dot product. So we're actually binding the two tables from the respective warehouses. So we're going to press enter, backspace, and then we can use the group by clause. So group by and press enter, tab key. So we're going to group by the P dot product column and then press enter, and then we can use the order by just to align things properly. So order by, and we're going to order by the same P dot product. We can order by all of this, it doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and run this query. Let me put in a semicolon here and press Control Enter. Let's see the result. Okay, amazing. So command executed using fact sales, blah, blah, blah. And we can see the solution. It worked absolutely fine. So we can see the total sales by products. So we can even play around. Let me just come here and get rid of these. Let's order by this one here. So come back here, I can Control V, and let's do this in descending order. Put in a semicolon, Control Enter. And there we go. So we've just ordered by the total sales column, the sales column. So we can see the best selling product is laptop with a value of 145,264. So we are able to successfully run cross warehouse query across the two fabric warehouses. So this is how we can implement this solution. I trust you enjoyed this video. If you do, like, comment, share, and follow me for more videos because there is a lot to come. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.